All right, we're here as the Lost Rider Podcast. Good morning and welcome to the second half of this week's News from the Camp House. We're here with Farm Bureau Director Greg Buenger, and we're talking about screwworms. We're talking about, what you need to look for, what you need to watch for. And people don't know, because I was 10 years old when this went on in the 60s, and I've heard them talk about, well, they had them in the 70s. I do not remember. I do not remember them in the 70s. But in the 60s, I sure remember them. And I remember going to the pastures every day, working cattle every day, checking everything. And it all came right when there was a lot of baby calves on the ground. And it was bad. It was really bad. It's nasty. It's dirty work. It's bad if you're cow-calf operation or any kind of cattle operation, any kind of animal. People don't realize how nasty and this job turns into, and how labor intensive it turns into to pay attention, to watch it, to see all your cattle every day, and doctor them if they need a doctor. They used to have calves tied all over the pasture. I read an article, and I remember Daddy had a collie dog that could sniff them out, and I read an article about other people saying they had dogs that could sniff them out. And so, I mean, this turns into so extremely labor intensive. And the way I remembered it is, if you missed a calf and didn't see him today, tomorrow that bugger was dead. That's the way I remember it. Now, I might be off just a little bit, but that is absolutely the way I remember it. If you missed something, it was dead. So this is something that we got to get a handle on, and it's amazing to me that we don't have these facilities, ready and going, and that, it's unacceptable. I think I'd raise holy hell in one of them committee meetings.
Yeah, I tell you what, we've asked a lot of questions. And you're right, Herman. I remember I was like you. I held the calves down when we doctored neighbors with smear 64 or smear 62. What I can't think it was 62. Anyway,
Yeah.
It's interesting that in the 60s and 70s they were all here. I got my veterinary license in 1980. So in my practice years, we didn't have screwworms anymore. So I never treated them as a veterinary professional.
Right.
But I was out there in the dirt. I was out there in the dirt like you were. And you're right. Baby calf navels, that's one of their favorite places, or baby deer navel, unfortunately.
Right.
And they will, in a day or two, untreated, they will kill that calf, because they feed on that live tissue, and they get right up into the abdomen, and that's curtains for that baby, unfortunately.
And then what that happens is, you look at your people that synchronize their calving, that have a 90-day or a 60-day calving window. Well, they're past it now. But those farmers that only have 30, 40, 50 cows, that just leave the bulls out all year and got calves dropping indiscriminately whenever, now you got problems, because you got baby calves right now. That's where you need to. That's the first place you check. And so
you betcha.
Yeah,
and I said this our last podcast. The folks that are diligent and have their cattle in front of them and monitor them well and so forth, they're gonna fare pretty well during this, especially because of some of the preventives and the treatments that we have available, which we talked about on the last podcast. But so it's the folks that are once a monthers, that's gonna get a little interesting, because it does take close monitoring of cattle and and you know, there'll be some instances where people are gonna learn some lessons and face some challenges, I'm afraid.
All right, now all right, now we're going to also mention, just for the sake of not just for the sake of mentioning it, your exotic wildlife breeders, and you can't catch them critters, but you can see them, and you're not going to see them every day because you got to hunt them. But if you have, if you got, the best thing you can do is ask them to drop flies in there. As far as I know, I don't know what else you do for something like that.
Yeah, it's a big challenge. You know, there's been some conversation about adding ivermectin to feed and those sorts of things for those wildlife. And the TWA, they're really trying to push for that. The Wildlife Association and the Texas Screwworm Coalition, which we talked about before, it's a bunch of entities. Wildlife Group is one of those. The catch with that, the FDA has been reluctant to approve those kind of things. We used to have it and have additives to feed, but they've been reluctant to approve those again because of the dosing. Because some animals eat too much, some animals don't eat enough, and you know the FDA they're real fickle in how they approve those things. And if animals can't be consistently dosed, they don't like that. But I have heard, and I'm not positive of this, but I have heard that there are some headways being made for that to happen, where we have something in the feed that those wildlife producers could feed to their animals, and at least help some. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, you got to do something. I mean, otherwise they just keep proliferating. You got to do something to knock it back. Well, you're trying to save them, trying to save the animals, and then at the same time knock these things back. All right. Did you not tell me that you're talking about feeding a feed with Ivomectin in it, but is it also? Did you not tell me that the injectable works better than the pour-on?
In my experience, in my practice years, I've always felt better about injecting the dewormers, Dectomax, Ivomectin, whatever the case may be. I've always felt much better about my dosage when I injected it than when I poured it on. I just feel like the blood levels. I know what the label says, but I've always felt like you get a more consistent result with the injectable. And I might add that as far as the approved dosing for screwworms that's approved right now, it is only the injectable products. Now, that's not to say that the pour-on in a pinch, if you just got to use it, man, I'd use it. I'd get it in there. Yeah. But the approved products, Dectomax and Ivomectin, are the injectables.
About right now, I'd inject everybody. I'd go back to spraying, do everything. People just don't realize what and I'm not one of them people that likes to set their hair on fire and get all upset about everything all the time. But this is one of those things this is one of them mess around and find out deals if you don't take care of it.
Yeah, and I think, and I'm certainly one to say that we shouldn't panic. I think we should be concerned and be informed as we can. In most instances, I don't believe that just blanket treating with Ivomectin or Dectomax basically and Ivomectin. I don't think blanket treatment is necessarily a good idea, especially in adult cattle. If you get 2 weeks, maybe 3 out of that, and you'll be getting them up every 2 or 3 weeks to do that. I don't think that's really a good idea, just off the cuff. But okay. But monitoring, a lot of these animals. I mean, some animals will have obscure wounds and so forth and so on. But an animal that has larvae feeding on its live flesh, that's uncomfortable. So look at them, and they'll look uncomfortable. Yeah. Whether it's your horse or your dog.
Right. You're breaking up on me.
And I think there'll be some common sense stuff,
Yeah, you're breaking up on me a little bit, Greg. All right.
You're in a controlled zone by your veterinarian,
All right. Okay. All right. Any last thoughts? What are we You know, the heat of the summer's coming. What do you think?
Yep.
What's fixing to happen?
Well, the screwworm fly operates best between about 70 and 88 degrees or 85 degrees, something like that. When it's very hot,
Yeah.
They're not as active. But you know what? We're in the Gulf Coast. You guys are down in the Gulf Coast region. It's warm. It's humid. That's what they really like, and I'm hearing we got the El Nino thing back, so we're going to have more humidity and more moisture. We're going to be in a situation where it's going to be an ideal environment for them probably through the summer until we get some freezing weather. But so I mean, it's in their favor. It is, Herman, honestly.
All right. Well, do you know, are they active? How many flies are they dropping now in those zones where they found them?
Well, they're having to spread them out. So you want to put as many as you can, but when you have 100 million a week to deal with, you have to do the calculations and put as many as you can. I know wherever there's a new area, those guys get fly dropped quickly. You'll see those little paper boxes just like in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah. All right. Well, everybody's working on it. Let's hope they catch another gear and get things going a little quicker.
I will say that USDA and the Animal Health Commission and all those, I will say I've witnessed them firsthand. I've talked to those folks, and the effort is amazing. I mean, they have jumped through hoops to get this expedited. The problem with the flies is that 2-3 years ago, nothing was done. We couldn't get a heartbeat out of the folks because they're down in Mexico. Why are we worried about them? And we said because they're not going to be in Mexico. They're going to and so when Brooke Rollins when she took over, she got things going. So I know she gets criticized, but let me tell you what, in screwworms, she's done all she can do within the bureaucracy, and I have enormous respect for her effort, as well as our Animal Health Commission guys, Bud Dingus and T.R. Lansford, those two guys that head up Animal Health Commission. I visit with them on a regular basis sometimes too, and so the effort is there. The problem is, no matter how much effort you have, you got a beast of a critter that we have to deal with, and it's here. And so there's just not one big giant fly swatter to squash it. That we've got to manage it until we can get enough flies to eradicate it. And last time it took 10 years. So that's the reality. All
right. Well, everybody's just going to have to keep an eye on it. Greg, thanks for being with us this morning.
Herman, I've always enjoyed it. And you call me back, we'll do it again sometime.
All right. Well, we're going to have to do regular updates on this business. So, all right.
I'm in.
All right.
All right, my friend. Take care.
All right. Hang on just a second. Folks, I hope you enjoyed this morning's edition, got a little bit of update, and maybe learned a little something and kind of get a little bit of a handle on what to expect. So, this weekend's edition was also brought to us by Shaw's Bend Social Club. Country club folks that don't have a country club. Now, go out, have a big weekend, have lots of fun, be safe, and y'all just remember, pretty much any day is sure a good day to be out in the woods.